the frigid North Atlantic. October water temperatures here hover around 40 degrees. Scientists say if you fall in water like this without protection, you can die in as little as 15 minutes. It's stormy out here. We're off the coast of Greenland, and this is typical fall weather. The waves are 6 to 8 meters, 20 to 26 feet high. They're battering our 400-foot boat. This ship is bringing thousands of tons of cargo from Portland, Maine to Reykjavik, Iceland. No one has slept in 2 days. The furniture, our dinner, our bodies, the entire boat are on the receiving end of penalty kicks from the sea. Why the heck am I here? This saga starts with a very small fruit. Our story is set against three dramatic landscapes: the lava fields of Iceland, the brilliant but barbaric North Atlantic Ocean, and the boulder-filled blueberry barrens of down east Maine, first harvested by Native Americans thousands of years ago. You're going on this adventure with me, TV journalist Dustin Bukowski, and that guy, cameraman Kirk Craddy.
You have to laugh to keep from crying.
We want to put a human face on Maine's economy in the 21st century. Maybe phrases like tariffs, trade wars, and made in China are making their way into your dinner conversations. Maybe they're not. Either way, if you live in Maine, millions of your dollars were spent over the past few years to revamp a container terminal in Portland. The terminal has built a metaphoric bridge of sorts, allowing Maine companies to import and export all kinds of stuff: fish, cars, windmill parts to Europe and beyond. Whether you realize it or not, there's a good chance the device you're watching this show on and the components that make it up have traveled thousands and thousands of miles to get to you. But how does that journey happen, and who makes it happen? How does something grown or supplied in Maine turn into something that's demanded somewhere else? And why is this link so important that Maine is spending millions and millions of dollars to make it happen? We're going to explore the answers to those questions by following that very small fruit I mentioned as it's turned into jam, then sent across the ocean to Iceland. Enter the wild blueberry. These tiny beads of flavor are the protagonist of our story. They're BB-sized, much smaller than their high-bushed cousins, which you can find in just about every grocery store. While Maine lobster has a lot of street cred, the state literally grows tons of blueberries. The University of Maine says Maine is the largest producer of wild blueberries in the world and grows 10% of all blueberries produced in North America. We're going to find out who grows the berries, who makes them into jam, who makes sure the jam doesn't end up in the sea on its way to Iceland, and where the jam ends up once it's there. To get our Wild Blue party started, Kirk and I have come here, Washington County, Maine. 31,000 people live in this Delaware-sized hunk of the Pine Tree State that's a collage of natural beauty. In every way, this place where heavenly blue water laps against tree-covered cliffs is wild blueberry land.
How many blueberries do you eat a year?
I don't know. Well, we eat a lot. We eat them every day on oatmeal.
Marie Emerson knows a lot about two wild blueberry lands, the figurative one, Washington County, and this wild blueberry land, the roadside oddity she built on the corner of Route 1 in a town called Columbia Falls. Part farm stand, part bakery, part ad hoc museum. This structure is, without a doubt, the biggest wild berry that was ever big, wild blue, and a berry.
Yeah, this is the key to wild blueberry land.
So to answer a question you didn't ask, yes, there once really was a little talkative woman who lived in a blueberry.
Now, how many pies have you seen that actually have a moose in the pie? They don't joke around here.
Marie makes her moose pies the same way she farms her berries, by hand. Her fine fruits grow in places like this, blueberry barrens that turn a fiery red come fall. But beneath the sweet, beautiful aesthetic you're eating up, is a reality, sour and cold, facing farmers in one of Maine's poorest regions.
You see your neighbors. I talked to a neighbor yesterday, tears in his eyes, and says he has to sell the family farm. It's sad. It's just not right. I mean, Washington County's always been hardworking people. You know, it would be no different if it was a lobsterman that have to sell the boats and have to sell their equipment, you know, because they can't make it. It's something that the state of Maine needs to look at, and they need to help. They need to do something for these small growers.
Last year was a disaster. The crop was really bad. The price was terrible. This year the crop's been a little better. The price is no better. So,
for 5 generations, Wayne Hanscom's family has picked, pruned, and cherished these acres of wild blueberry land. Today, he and his daughter send fresh berries all over Maine every summer.
the difference between the Maine blueberry, the wild blueberry, and the cultivated blueberry is size, but it's also flavor. The high bush berry contains a lot more water, and it has a milder flavor. The wild blueberry has a very strong, distinct flavor.
All this work isn't paying the bills like it used to. In 2018, some farmers didn't even bother to harvest large tracts of barrens. It wasn't worth it. The Hanscoms had to diversify their income to pay the bills. Wayne will drive cement trucks, drive overnight seafood trucks from Washington County to Boston. He's even built cabins on his farm to rent out as Airbnbs.
We done about 20-some thousand pounds in fresh that goes probably half local and half goes as far as Connecticut. The rest of them, which was about 50-some thousand this year, went to Wyman's for freezer because we can't pack all of them in our shed. It just won't. It isn't big enough.
Well, I've had people tell me when I brought them up here for the first time that it looked like Africa, you know, because it's just barren. These fields have been in production for over 100 years. And before that, like I said, the early settlers and the Native Americans were using these fields to harvest blueberries off from.
The big player in the blueberry business in these parts is a company called Wyman's. They farm and pack more blueberries than anyone in these parts and buy some of the berry supply they need from small farmers like Wayne. Those berries get mixed with others from here, Wyman's massive blueberry barrens in DeBlois, Maine. Population, 57. It's the type of place where roots run deep and wrap themselves around the blueberry business.
I was a little kid. My grandfather and my uncle both had blueberry fields, so that's how we were in my school clothes back when I was a little guy.
So you actually know what it's like to do the work?
I do, yeah, I grew up with it. Yeah, it's hard work.
Homer Woodward is the Vice President of Operations for Wyman's. He gave us an up-close tour of their operations in the field from his four-wheel drive office.
It's planted by nature. We don't plant it, we find land and develop it into a blueberry field. What we're doing is we're actually pruning the blueberry bushes to prepare the crop for the 2020 harvest.
What's a blueberry mean to you?
Well, money, I guess. Mostly, I guess. It's a job. I've been mowing 30 years. A lot of it was night mowing.
Wait,
That's
sorry,
not so
night
good.
mowing?
Yeah, that's not so good, but.
No? Well, what's that entail?
The same thing as now, except you do it at night from 7 to 7.
Pruning and mowing in this field is a carefully planned and executed operation. The mowing lanes you're seeing were plotted out on GPS maps. Farmers also have to make sure they're mowing the right field. Each wild blueberry field can only be harvested once every 2 years. Preparation and care is constant.
Do you like to eat them?
I really like some of them, yeah. They're all different tasting. Some of them are sweet, some of them are sour. So the sour, I like the sour ones better. I don't know why, it's just, because they're all different. There's 5 or 6 different breeds of blueberries.
If you talk about wild blueberries in Down East Maine with a local, there's a good chance they'll also mention blueberry pie, almost as famous as Maine's ubiquitous whoopie pie. If you're down east talking to a local about blueberry pie, there's a good chance they'll refer you to this spot, Helen's Restaurant in Machias. An hour and 40 minutes east of Bar Harbor on Route 1, Helen's is a local institution, a good spot to ask people about wild blueberries.
Blueberries in Maine are the finest blueberries in the world. We've traveled all over without a doubt because they have the soil that no one else has.
How important are these blueberries to everybody around here?
Well, a lot of people, that's their income. For a lot of people, it's mostly, seasonal work, blueberries, fishing, things like that for here, so it's very important. I raked blueberries all my childhood for school clothes every year. If I worked really hard, I could get the extra something, that I wanted or that I saw somewhere.
What about the blueberry pie at this place?
Oh, it's great. I wouldn't eat anywhere else.
Helen's is the type of place where the lunch special is a burger topped with goat cheese, wild blueberry mustard, and it's all laying on a bed of wild blueberry jam. No, we didn't plan that. Helen's also has a legendary blueberry pie. Standing nearly 2 inches high, these monuments to all that is sweet yet subtly tart are topped by a planet-sized dollop of ice cream. You can also get apple pie like Kirk, but he's weird.
Look how deflated that is. These apples don't even have any support.
The blueberries in Helen's pie show up at the restaurant like this. The bags are packed here at Wyman's processing facility in Cherryfield, Maine. Millions of wild berries from the fields we showed you are shipped here in tote boxes like these. The berries are flash frozen after harvest in summer and kept in a warehouse until they're ready to be repacked at this plant and sent to customers. Adam West, not Batman, I asked, is the manufacturing manager here.
Go ahead and choose your size, and we'll get buttoned up and ready to go.
I think I'm a medium. You don't have medium here? Small and medium?
Small, that's right, medium's the smallest.
Adam is responsible for all the berries while they're in the plant. If someone could bleed blueberry juice, it's him.
I'm fourth generation of my family that's worked for this company, so I've seen it from the ground up. I've worked here since I was old enough to come in the plant when I was 16. I've harvested the crop when they were on the field, started raking blueberries at 5, so I think that's why I have such a vast interest.
The plant's interior is what I imagine being inside an unused sealed replacement water filter feels like. It's dimly lit and cold to keep products frozen. You can see your breath in here. It's also super, super clean, almost ominously so. You have to suds up your shoes when you walk in the door. And as soon as the production lines are shut down for the night, all these conveyors and chutes are sanitized too.
So how hard is it to keep this thing clean? Is it a lot of work?
Yes, it's very hard. As far as the plant and the lines go, we have 4 guys that come in that clean all 5 of our lines, and we give them 9 hours. They have 9 hours. They come in at 9 o'clock at night. They're done by 5 o'clock in the morning, and 5 to 6, and then we're back up and running at 6 o'clock the next morning. So this plant here runs 16 hours a day, and then the rest is cleanup time until 6 o'clock the next morning.
Wow. And what do they do?
They're sanitizing all the product contact surfaces, the floors, equipment, anything that may come in contact with the food or the floors, the drains, all the plant is completely sanitized.
Adam brought us through the whole packing process. First, ice blocks of berries have to be broken up. Then a laser sorter separates the berries and any leftover stems are taken out. Ugly or inadequate berries are picked out by hand. About a dozen women, many of them from Mexico or Central America, sift through fruit racing by on its way to a box or bag.
This is the quality control department.
This is quality. The 2 ladies over here are the final set of eyes before the product gets to the consumer.
A lot of pressure on them.
That's right.
There's a big manufacturing line for bulk customers like restaurants. A smaller one takes care of bags destined for places like grocery stores. The berries are weighed out into the proper size for packaging on the way to the bags and boxes.
Okay, so we got a nice display case, you got the nice robotic arm. This obviously is something cool that we should talk about.
Correct. This is a BPA machine. So what this is doing is 2 bags, there's 8 bags in this case. It's an 8 4-pound box. So what they're doing is it's putting 2 bags into the cassette at a time. It'll pile up 8 bags and then it'll slide the bags into the box. And then the box flips down and process goes through and the box passes through the tape machine here.
From packaging, it's off to the forklift and a warehouse chilled to -5 degrees Fahrenheit, a chilly final stop for the berries before they're loaded onto trucks and sent back out into the world. That is where we're going, the world, the big wet horizon on the other side of the blueberry barrens, at least in a little bit. Maine does export blueberries in whole frozen form across the globe, but the berries we're concerned with don't go straight on this ship. The ones that ended up on the deck getting battered out there with us were turned into jam in southern Maine, our next stop on Ship Me Out.